Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. I am your host, Chandrakant. Just in case if you don't remember your name, Um I come in front of you every day, and today we have a very interesting guest joining us from Mexico, and he is running a amazing organization. In fact, he is actually helping a lot of startups across the world achieving their numbers. And his name is Charles Cormier. So, without further ado, let me present Charles to you. Hello, Charles. Welcome to Akulmach Live, and very good morning to you.
Hi, nice to be here and share value.
Great, Charles. So you're joining us from Mexico City, and the topic of discussion today is about the funnel, basically, which is the backbone of all businesses. So before we start our discussion, why don't you introduce yourself very briefly to our viewers?
Yeah, serial entrepreneur, started various businesses. My first one was a nootropic, so a supplement for the brain. I've been on Dragon's Den, so on TV with that one. It was the best nootropic supplement in Canada back then, best formula for the brain, so memory, focus, and stuff like that. We ran a bunch of Facebook ads for that one. We were in a couple of stores, but after some time, me and my partner decided to split up, take 100K loss. And after that, I started to go full time into my agencies. Already had my agencies back then, as a cash flow model was amazing. So basically, I had a Facebook ads agency for realtors. I would do website for some niches, right? I'd do AdWords for another niche. So always these niche agencies that allowed me to travel the world for 5 years with my wife. I had an assistant back then also follow us and film content about myself. And through COVID, we decided to stick around in Mexico, in Oaxaca precisely. We are into a dream house in the mountains. I'm also an ultra runner, an endurance athlete. I did a couple of Ironmans, a couple of ultra runs. Right now I'm on a treadmill because I'm preparing for 100K. I started probably 100 startups in the last decades. I'm constantly A/B testing new offers with new markets. So that's my obsession, product market fit. That's also my main offering to my clients. I help them set up systems on Apollo, SendGrid, and Clay, for example, to send AI cold email at scale. So anytime someone has a question on lead gen, for example, or not having a funnel that will generate them constant amount of leads, for example, a podcast funnel, which we can talk in depth today, they come and see me. I either coach them or I do cold email outreach campaigns for them, bring them a bunch of results, and generate them money. On the backside of this full ecosystem that I developed allowed me to A/B test my own startup ideas. It's a great market research tool, and it just shows me constantly where the market is going, where the interest is. So it's a beautiful machine that I make available to all my clients.
Very good, and thank you for introducing in such detail to our viewers. And it will be very interesting to know what your technology can do for the viewers here. And friends, before we move forward, I must tell you that we are live across all social media platforms. If you have a comment or a question, you can send using your chat function. The comments will get displayed here on this side of the screen. Also, we are live, and we allow our viewers to join live right now with the camera and microphone. The process of joining with camera and microphone is given in the description. All lines are open. We are waiting for you. Please come and join and be part of this discussion. All right, let's move forward. So, Charles, we had our viewers send some questions regarding funnel. So let's start our discussion today, and let's talk about the strategies. I think you discussed in your introduction many things about strategy. You have done many things so far. You have worn many hats in life. So the first question is, what strategy you have found most effective for identifying and attracting high quality prospect, because I think that is the holy grail of making revenue for the organization. So over to you, Charles.
Yeah. And your audience, I think most of them are based in India, early stage founders. So I think I'm going to focus the advice here on that. And to your question, I think the most underrated funnel out there nowadays is the podcast funnel. The podcast funnel is genius for many reasons. For one, it works in any niche out there. What you'll want to do is take your ideal customer persona. In my case, it's a CEO, investor hybrid in tech, growing company, right? So their headcount is growing by at least 25% the last 12 months. They've been funded. I'm taking this ICP and I invite them to a podcast. Why do I do that and not pitch them directly? Because everyone is pitching them directly, and these people are tired of that. They are likely not going to convert to a mere demo sales call. So what we want to do is invite them to a podcast call, which is similar to a sales calls, by the way. It's all about having a conversation, making the other feel at ease, and making them shine. You're going to produce content out of that. You're going to ask them intellectual questions that are going to increase trust in them and show them that you're smart. You're going to be sort of like a psychotherapist, right? Like a good podcast interview is like a psychotherapy. It makes you feel great. It makes you feel comfortable, and it releases some of your internal thoughts that you've been having out there in the wild and make you feel accepted. So that's what a podcast is about. You start with that, you do the interview, and on the back end of that, you're going to send them a newsletter about what you do, right? You're going to remind them of your existence. You're going to still develop trust nodes and send value out there to them constantly. In my case, it's almost every day, but you can start on substack.com with like a free newsletter on a weekly basis. You can also remarket them with Google Ads. You can post on LinkedIn and obviously add them on LinkedIn and on Twitter and where they're active. Me, it's mostly on LinkedIn. And with that constant reminder to them, Charles is a nice guy. He interviewed me on this podcast. He's constantly posting good stuff about lead gen, right? You become a thought leader. You become an authority in their eyes, and eventually they're going to convert. That's a very simple funnel. On my end, the funnel's a bit more complicated than that. So I can get into this real quick for those that are more advanced. But I start with a podcast. Then I invite them to a monthly mastermind. Monthly mastermind is on Zoom. It's 30 minutes. Again, it's my best ICP. It's the best podcast that I have. I invite them to a mastermind in which they're going to exchange insights, accountability, and support with their peers and myself. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the organizer. This is still going to be free. And again, I'm going to increase the trust radius every month that we meet. And eventually 30% of them are going to buy my services because I've added so much value to them. My main theory in sales is to keep on pouring water in their glass. And when the glass overflows, that's them paying me. That's overvalue. They're like, I can't take too much. It's too much. I need to give some. So that's my main theory in sales. And then how the water, how you produce it, and the machine to produce energy, that's another topic right there, how to be valuable in this market. But that's a solid business thesis. So podcast, mastermind, they become your clients, 30% of them. And eventually you want to work on wowing your clients so that at least 50% of them become super affiliates. So these are clients that you serve, they became your friends, and now you're scheming together. They're your allies, so they will refer your products constantly, and you're going to pay them. Every time they refer you someone, you pay them 25% commission. So me, I don't need sales rep with that system. It's almost fully automated, and I only deal with high quality people. So with that being said, in my opinion, this is a super exponential system that only propels you to greater levels on a daily basis, because you always want to hang out with virtuous and high level and high performing people. And yeah, this brings me a crap load of business, and I think it can be valuable for the more advanced audience here.
Great. So I think, just like you, I also keep advocating to my viewers that, video is a killer combination combined with social media. It's really killer because it actually breaks barrier and it takes you beyond the boundaries of your country and you can actually do business all across the world. I mean, tomorrow if there is a settlement of moon, you will be able to find clients on the moon also using this. So excellent strategy. I think it's a good one, Charles. Let's quickly go to the next question, which is how do you nurture leads along the sales funnel to ensure they convert into paying customers? You have already explained that a little bit, but I think the question is more regarding funnels because we keep hearing about various funnels. We have heard that people are running two funnels, three funnels. So I think in this question, you can talk about how to create funnel and how to run with multiple funnels.
Yeah. Well, I described my best converting funnel here. I think the question is how to increase trust at scale, how to increase trust at scale, which has been a question that's been going on through my mind this year. So I just described the technical part of it. Now, how do you become a trustful human being? I think is a better question. So it's all about you at first, right? Like it's like the famous saying in a relationship: how can you be in a relationship if you don't even love yourself? You can't. Um, you need to invest time in becoming the best version of yourself possible. The 1% better daily philosophy is still very much accurate in this day and age. You want to read books on a daily basis at first, right? Listen to audiobooks and see what the greats out there have to say. You want to follow them on social media. You want to take care of your health, right, and your brain. My first thesis in business 10 years ago was to increase my IQ and my intelligence, which is why I started this nootropic company, right? It's still probably in my top 10 thesis nowadays. So be the most intelligent person in the room. A lot of people say don't be the smartest person in the room. I believe that's bullshit. Be the smartest person in the room always, and it's not like trying to be that person. It's just being that person, being more informed, right? Doing your homework, being the person that's most disciplined. And guess what? If you're not the smartest in the room, then learn from the smartest in the room and listen to them, right? But taking care of that brain, of that health of yours, and making sure that you're constantly onto new stuff, right, is the way that you will get paid eventually and increase trust. So once you have a theoretical system to add value to your own brain and grow these neurons of yours, aka books, podcasts, and so forth, you need to do something with that information. You can't just like absorb information and pray that something great will happen in there. You need to practice your craft. So in my case, I still use cold email on a daily basis to test out any new business ideas or concepts or headlines that I've read or heard about on a daily basis. So I have a machine to synthesize my information. I send out cold email to this market with this new thesis of mine, and then I observe the response. Am I right or wrong about this? So that's one way to do it. Plus, if I'm right, I get paid, right? So I have people being generated as leads and paying me money for being right. So that is a super helpful mechanism. If you're not set with a cold email tool like Apollo, which I plug with SendGrid, then you can just write stuff on social media and get feedback from an audience. So on LinkedIn, for example, I post probably 5 times a day or 10. I use it like a Twitter, and I constantly get feedback. Either it's low-level feedback like engagement, likes, for example, or high-level engagement, which is comments on my posts. And then I constantly refine my thesis over that. So that's how you become smarter. That's how you become more trustful. And ultimately, that's how people will pay you. People do not pay low IQ, low added value people. Like, that is the truth. You don't want to depend on fakery. You always want to go for truth and objectivity. And in our world, in the business world, that's being smart and adding value to others.
Well, Charles, you have put it very nicely. I think what you are also telling our viewers is to focus on the real thing and not really do something which is very shallow. Don't keep sending one message every day to everyone. You need to focus and understand to whom you are sending that message and what is that message, what is the content. And I think you need to review and do little bit research, market research before you start identifying the paying customers. In fact, going back to our next question, that is, could you share any real world examples of success, leads, conversion from your playbook?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of those. For example, generating over 100 podcast calls for golance.com CEO Michael Brooks. Um, I have 70 testimonials on my LinkedIn. I'm not sure how this can be useful for the audience because I'm not selling anything here, but yeah, I think that the point could be that having testimonials and proof that your stuff works is important. In my case, I have a hack for that, which is LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can ask for recommendation on people's profiles. So once you're done with a client, if you're done right, or even if they're still your clients and they're being amazed at what you do, you can go on their profile and ask for a recommendations. It's easy peasy. It takes 2 minutes. And instead of the template message saying, "Hi, Michael, can you recommend me, please?" Uh, Write something else. Be like, "Hey, we've worked together for 3 months now. We've generated that amount of leads. I've heard you said that you were happy with XYZ. Can you leave me a quick recommendation? That would mean the world to me." And another hack for this is that you leave them a recommendation before doing that so that they feel not obligated, but they feel nudged to send you a testimonial back. So it's giving again with the water the water in the glass theory. Give before you ask, right? Overflow their glass before you ask something. So with that way you can get a bunch of testimonials. Me, I have 70. I think authorities is important. Me with my ICP, I'm not necessarily aiming for a client that will want the approval of others to buy from me. My ICPs are independent thinker, and from conversations with me and seeing my content, I think these would be the higher trust signals for them, because yeah, testimonials can be faked also. That's very important to note. Like all the 5 stars rating you see on whatever platform, it's really easy to fake them out, and lots of people are taking advantage of that, unfortunately.
So, Charles, just taking a step back from our serious discussion. So, what is your target for calories burning today? Are you going to burn 3,000 or 300?
Calories, huh? 3,000 would be a lot. 3,000, I think, is probably more than a marathon. Um, and yeah, burning calories is like definitely not a metric I'm checking, because this is for fat people. Um, Me, what I check as an objective on a daily basis, I'm trying to exercise at least 4 times a day, and walking on this treadmill does not count as exercise. Walking on this treadmill, the theory was, okay, I have this standing desk, I'm standing, I'm not moving around, so why just not add something under my feet so I can walk and practice for this 100K? Because the 100K, you're going to be running for, yeah, 16, 18 hours in a day. Um, so why not walk a full day? So I've tried to walk on a full day with that one. And it's also been inspired by favorite biohacker of mine, Ben Greenfield. And now for exercise, well, nowadays I have the CEO Fit Club that I'm promoting. It's free and it's for founders and ambitious CEOs that want to exercise on a weekly basis with me. We had our first session yesterday. So that's a 10 minutes hit, but can be up to 30 minutes. Yesterday, I also lifted weights with Apple Fit, which I recommend to everyone. It's so easy if you have weight. It's scientific workouts. Scientific workouts are quite important. They're structured and they have a theory behind them. They're not like all over the place with no science behind them. They have some kind of warm up as well. And yeah, I go running, biking in the mountain, which is probably one of the most rewarding workouts out there with my doggies on a daily basis. So if I can check like at least three workouts per day nowadays, I'm satisfied. If I worked out maybe 4 times, it's even better. I think moving your body is so underrated, and I mean it's in our natural state. You know, we forgot that us humans probably a couple millennials ago, that's what we would do. We would fully do physical activity. We wouldn't think much, you know, other than the royalty. Like most of us don't come from royalty. Our ancestors, we used to plow, we used to tame animals and do really physical work. So the body still needs some of that. A lot of people are experiencing anxiety nowadays and they wonder why. Well, you need to move your body. Your body was made to move. We forgot that in today's society. It's really cluttered, and yeah, that causes a lot of mental and physical diseases. So quite important to move your body on a daily basis to live a long and happy life.
So we wish you all the best with your regime, and I'm sure your life is very comfortable with all this exercise and all the mind work you do for your client. I think you need this, sort of an opening and exercising your mind as well as your soul. So let's move on to the last question of our session today, which is, what emerging trends or shift in the digital marketing landscape do you believe will impact the lead generation of the future?
Right. AI will change everything. It's already changed everything. I used to have a team of around 30 to 50 employees 2 years ago. I fired them all. I hired probably 1,000 employees in the last decade, and I let go of all of them. AI will change the full game. I have ChatGPT opened in my Chrome every day, and I use it probably 10 to 50 times a day since the past couple of years. So we will have AI agents. If you're listening to this and you're still an employee, like, yeah, you need to get out of that comfortable mode because, yeah, this is not going to work. Us founders and us CEOs, we're only going to hire AI because hiring an employee, especially at the startup stage, you have a 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 chance of the employee being a superstar. So who wants a 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 chance? You know, like us entrepreneurs were aiming for nine out of 10 chances. So, and with an AI, it's fully automated. The AI doesn't have feelings, you know, they won't shit on you when they feel bad. They won't ask for a high salary, you know. So the thesis is that every employee is going to become a freelancer. That's a solid thesis of mine in the next 10 to 20 years. Nowadays, in my prediction, what is happening is not that I'm wrong, it's that the stuff that I predict in decades is happening way sooner. Um, so, yeah, like if you're listening to this, like get out of your cozy job and start being more entrepreneurial, really creating value and not leashing onto something, aka a company that will pay you a comfortable salary. That just doesn't work anymore, and will die in the upcoming next years. I'm using AI pretty much for everything, to create chapters on my podcast. I'm using AI to write emails. I'm using AIs to manage my inboxes, you know. So everything's pretty much automated nowadays, and I think that's how the company of the future will be built.
So, Charles, I think your nugget of wisdom may be very useful. In fact, you are living the future as we speak today. You are using AI, you're not using manpower to run your company, which is an amazing input. And I think there are a lot of good pointers that has come out from this discussion. So, Charles, it was really a great pleasure of ours to host you on our channel. It was lovely talking to you. All right, friends. So we had a fantastic discussion with Charles, who joined us today from Mexico, and it was a very interesting discussion. It was futuristic. It was a lot of tips. So just in case if you have any questions, feel free to send it across, and we will take up those questions in the next edition of our live show. And if you want to reach out to Charles, his coordinates are given in the description below. So thank you so much for joining me live, and I will catch you again in the next one.